It happened all too slowly that I remember every single last detail of the last time I ever played Animal Jam. It was only a normal Saturday, and it was time for my daily Animal Jam time. I turned on my computer, as always, and went to Animal Jam, entering my username and password. It logged on perfectly fine as usual, and I wasn't surprised that none of my friends were on. With a sigh, I kinda just had my wolf pace around the Jama township. Without a doubt, the township was filled to the brim with other players. I put up some items on my trade, and had my wolf sit in a random corner. I knew I'd get trade requests. Out of the whole request list for trades I got, none of them were really good at all. But then there was this one trade that caught my eye. Well, not the trade items, the username of the trader. It didn't seem right, and it gave me chills when I read it out loud. The eyeless fox. I clicked decline and looked up his username on the Find a Jammer button. I typed his name, but it said that the jammer wasn't found. That was weird. I shrugged, but thought nothing of it after. Then I saw him, the actual fox for this person, but it didn't have a name tag under the animal. It came along and sat right down next to my wolf. It just sat there, facing my animal. It had no eyes, but I assumed it to be the XI option Animal Jam had for animals. But then I heard it. A rasping sound coming from my headphones. It sounded like whatever it was. It had ragged teeth, and it was telling me who it was. I am the eyeless fox. You have deemed yourself worthy. Are you the only person who can see me in Jamal? Yes. Would you like to be friends with me? Was what the voice said through my headphones. I looked at the screen and saw the fox was looking directly at me, like it was gazing through the screen. It was solid dark black. I swore it almost looked like a black aura was radiating from it. I didn't know how to talk to the thing. I wanted to be its friend, being the daredevil tomboy I was. I guess the only way to talk to it was to type through my wolf. I typed yes. But when I clicked enter, there was no speech bubble. Only another voice saying yes, a voice that sounded like mine coming through my animal. I tilted my head at the screen. I didn't know how or why this was happening, but I suddenly felt unsafe, like something was behind me, ready to take me away. The fox sprite suddenly had its face twist, and teeth showed. It was smiling. A buddy request was sent to me, and I accepted it, but not without hesitation. I didn't like the look of this fox, and Animal Jam was acting strange. I didn't know if it was safe or not. I brushed it off as being too paranoid. The eyeless fox and I began to talk in my den. The speech bubbles had returned for him and me. We talked for hours. But soon it was time for me to log off for the day. We said our goodbyes and I left. I didn't think much of it, but I still thought about the eyeless fox. He was mysterious, without a player card or name tag under the animal. I thought it might have been some glitch that some jammers got. After all, players were always finding weird glitches, but he just stayed on my mind like he was glued there. I shuddered once or twice thinking about a sprite. No eyes, just a body. I did the same thing the next day. I logged onto Animal Jam, assuming everything would be just like yesterday. But as it got to the screen to choose my server, I noticed right away something wasn't right. All the servers, they were empty. No green bubbles showing how full it was, just empty, like every other player was avoiding the game. I didn't know if I should have continued. I tried to click the logout button, but it wouldn't log out. I tried to close the window, but nothing happened. I sighed. I had no choice but to fully log in, so I did. The words loaded fairly quickly, and I was in the township. It was empty. Even the music was gone. I bit my lip in nervousness. I was getting a little freaked out. Then I saw him, the eyeless fox. No eyes, no name tag, no player card, just a sprite. Only the sprite was different. It had grown more gruesome. I got scared and ran to another area. I quickly tried to unfriend him as well, but then I remembered I couldn't. He had no player card. Nowhere to place the button to remove him from your buddy list. He appeared in the area right after, and it looked right at me through the screen. Its lips drew back to reveal ragged, blood-red teeth. Instead of eyes, in their place were two black eye sockets with red dripping from them. It snarled at me. "Do not try to escape me, friend," I hear from my headphones. I almost screamed as he advanced toward my wolf. Quickly as I could, I brought up the map and clicked on Deep Blue. I turned to my shark. There was no way he could get me down here. Boy, was I wrong. The thing appeared in the water, like it was still walking on land, but its paws were flailing like it was swimming, the blood from its eyes washing into the blue waters, turning it red and sour. "You will come with me," he said, and I tried to run again, but nothing would work, like it wasn't registering my mouse. I had no choice but to watch as my animal moved on its own, following the eyeless fox. We headed back to land. We were in a pondale. I silently wondered if what he was doing and he had brought me here for. I watched for a long time, nothing happened. But then I was turned into a fox with no name tag. I gulped as I watched. My fox had colors. It was deep blue with silver patches. Then the eyeless fox began to guide my fox into an area that shouldn't have existed. We entered the cave right next to the Apondale Museum. Inside it was dark, with jagged rocks coming up from the floor and coming down from the ceiling. The rocks dripped with water, or so I had thought. Instead, they were dripping with blood. I shivered as we kept going, until we finally reached the end. "Welcome to my home," the eyeless fox spoke to my own. It didn't wait for my answer. It simply kept on talking. "I wasn't always like this, dark and without eyes. I was a regular animal for a regular player. But there was this glitch, a terrible one. It was when my player was doing an adventure. I was being chased by phantoms. The player was suddenly logged out, but it left me still in the adventure to fend for myself. There was nothing I could do to defend myself, and the phantoms took me to their lair," he told me. The fox began to pace, red once again coming from the empty eye sockets. "They took me and tortured me, cut my eyes out and destroyed them. Then they rendered me useless, never to be able to go on another adventure again. They do this to so many of the players, and their account would be destroyed. Then they found a way to keep one account alive, to do their bidding. This account is me," he roared, and the cave shook. I badly wanted this to end, but my mouse could do nothing. "They freed me from the bonds of an account, but in exchange they made me do their dirty work. The reason why they cut my eyes out was to have something to keep me going. They said they'd make me new eyes when I destroyed all of Jamar. All the animals who thwart their plans win the adventures." The fox trailed off, coming close to my animal. It came so close their faces were almost touching. "I didn't want to do this, but I want my eyes back. I want to see again so badly," he whispered, so soft I could barely hear it. Then he returned to his evil state. "I have to do this." That was all he said, when he lunged for my fox, and the screen went black. I tried clicking, but nothing happened. Then the scream came back. My animal was gone, and in its place was a pool of red. The fox was looking at me now. He said the words again. "I have to do this." And then it lunged right at me, its ragged teeth covering the whole screen. Then it just went away. The page exited by itself, leaving me in the chair, panting, trying to figure out what just happened. I shook myself and opened up another page. I went to Animal Jam, entered my username and password, then clicked Log In. But it didn't find an account with that username. My account had vanished from existence. The last thought I ever had before exiting Animal Jam page forever was of the eyeless fox, and a sad, untold story. you ever seen those new jammer rabbits? You know, those white rabbits with the default eyes that just sit there for hours until you get creeped out and leave? Well, I've uncovered the truth about those rabbits, and you might want to rethink having a rabbit friend. It's all started 2 days ago. I was on Animal Jam, of course, and another one of those creepy new jammer rabbits came into Jama Township. I shifted in my seat a bit. I never liked those rabbits, but this one was different. It tried to talk to other animals, but everyone ignored it. I guess they have felt the same way about new jammer rabbits. They really are a bit creepy. So then the rabbit came up to me and said, "Please play with me. I'm lonely." Soon, my heart softened for the poor player, and I decided to play with it. After all, no one could possibly do me harm for playing a new jammer rabbit, right? "Alright, you new jammer, I'll play with you," I typed with a sigh, wondering why it was always me who got into this kind of stuff. I had to guess that was just my nature. After all, I'd lately seen that non-members were being treated unfairly. The rabbit hopped up and down with glee. "Come with me," it said, then hopped off in the direction of a pondale. I raised an eyebrow, but followed the rabbit there anyways. "Try to catch me," the rabbit squealed happily, bouncing off all over the place. This rabbit is a hurricane, I thought. How does it move so fast? The rabbit continued to bounce off of everything, and sadly, I couldn't catch it once. The rabbit laughed at me. "Too slow. Want to try again?" it asked, and went to Kambara out back. I groaned, yet still followed the rabbit. I wasn't done with it. I still had a few questions to ask it. "Hey, rabbit," I asked. "Nope, gotta catch me." The rabbit ignored all my attempts to try and talk to it, and still evaded my Arctic wolf. I growled in frustration, switched to my eagle, and continued to chase the rabbit. When I finally saw an opening in the rabbit's routine, I lunged and caught the thing. "Now will you answer my questions?" I asked. And when the rabbit turned to look at me, I saw an eagle's talon mark scratch into the rabbit's side, and to my surprise, it was bleeding. "Blood in a kid's game? What?" "Oh, I'm sorry," I typed. The rabbit laughed. "Thanks for playing with me. I'll come for you tomorrow," the rabbit said, then hopped off into a part of the area that didn't even exist. I shrugged. That was unusual. Well, since the rabbit was gone, I could talk to a few of my friends. So while I was doing that, I told her about the new jammer rabbit I'd played with. She looked horrified. "Derp, you can't do that. There's a reason why everyone avoids those new jammer rabbits. Bad things happen if you get on their good side," she told me. I highly doubt I was on its good side. I somehow managed to make it bleed, and on a kid's game, no less. I mumbled, "That's the start of it, you know. You can't play here tomorrow, or you'll be in grave danger. It's going to come for you, Derp," she warned me, but the warning fell on deaf ears. Yeah, I'm sure you're just having a go at me. I'll think about it." The rest of my time on AJ went by in a blur, hanging out with friends and all. We gathered in Epic Wonders and told other stories, and I told of my adventures in fighting the phantoms. So when I logged on the next morning, I wanted it to be like that every day. And yet, my stupidity led to these next events. When I logged on, it was dark. I could barely see my animal, and there was no other animals in the area. It was like the Halloween areas had come early. "What's going on?" I asked myself. Then I heard a hopping sound. I looked to see the same rabbit I had played with yesterday staring at my Arctic wolf. Its eyes looked dead, and they were glazed over. The wound I had given it yesterday was covered in crusty, dried blood, and it looked infected. I almost threw up. "Please play with me. I'm lonely." When it spoke, its voice went deeper, like it was speaking for someone else. I cringed and tried to move my poor wolf, but it was frozen in the spot. As I looked, I could see a dark fog swirling around her. The rabbit laughed. "It's good to know you always play with us," it said, and dark figures were stalking up behind it. I gaped. "We are the clan of the cursed animals," one of them spoke. "You've met one of us before, and we've since watched you every day. You will be ours soon." I met one of them before? Then it hit me. The eyeless fox. "He's one of you?" I asked. The rabbit laughed. "We are all one. You may know me as the lonely rabbit," it spoke. "Why do you want me? What have I ever done that may interest you in me so much?" I asked, wanting answers. "That information's not for your ears. You will join us. You will help us," the lonely rabbit threatened me. I growled. "Not a million years, you thing. Your kind is not welcome in Jamal," I typed furiously. One of the shadowed figures scoffed. "Who gave you the power to speak for the whole of Jamal?" he snarled. "Haven't you forgotten what we told you? We were once regular jammers. We only want what belongs to us. I don't belong to you. No one does. I won't join you," I hissed. The shadowed figure sighed. "She's all yours this time, lonely rabbit. he said, and the other figures retreated into the cover of the dark area. My wolf was suddenly lifted off the ground and constricted in the dark fog. Looks like you aren't ready in this account either. The Lonely Rabbit sighed, moving his ears like arms to control the black fog. I watched in horror as my wolf was being stretched out to its limit, its paws being pulled in opposite directions. So for now, you're mine. It grinned sickly, making a final pull, and my wolf was ripped apart. My jaw dropped open as blood and insides came raining down on the Lonely Rabbit. The Lonely Rabbit giggled, its sweet, cute voice returning as it hopped over and collected my wolf's heart and brain. Now we can play with each other forever! It squealed with glee, rubbing around in my wolf's blood and making me sick. Then the Animal Jam screen went black and it logged me out. I sat there, jaw hanging open in shock. I shook my head, trying to grasp what had happened. The only thing I could think of was the clan of the cursed animals, of the Lonely Rabbit and the eyeless fox, and I realized Jamal was at war.
Again for another tale? Good. It's time you knew the whole story. I'll tell it piece by piece. This part is about the next member of the clan of the cursed animals, and why I find out more about their work. I had yet another Animal Jam account by now, and I was extra careful not to get into anything unusual. I hid from being known. I even had to hide from the friends who knew about my little events. I did everything in my power to stay away from the CCA. Rares had come out in that new Eagle adventure, so for me, rares didn't matter anymore. I was getting more and more bored of Animal Jam now without the drive to get certain rare items, because now all you had to do was continuously play that Eagle adventure, and even that raised suspicions with me, so after a while I stood clear from the even adventures. My drive to play adventures was blocked by paranoia of meeting those creeps again. I was beginning to be trapped by my fear of the CCA. I didn't know their power, and I didn't know what they wanted with me. Yet, even with my drastic measures, they still found me. I was in my den, decorating it to my new wishes. I was beginning to doubt my encounters had ever even happened, but those doubts were quickly quelled when my screen went black. By now I knew the sign. It was them, yet again, and I started to panic. My animal ended up in a large field of purple grass and black flowers, and there was dried bloodstains and splatters around her. "Leave me alone! This is harassment!" I typed out, but there was no one there. Yet. I took another moment to take in my horrifying surroundings, saw dead, rotting corpses of long-since-dead animals. Flies were flying around the dead bodies, and there was a sick, brownish-yellowish fluid leaking from some of them. I wanted to hurl. And other patches of dried blood were complete skeletons. The dried blood around these were as a brown color, saying that these were here for a long, long time. I cringed. Is this where all animals end up in the end? I looked at each body carefully. Rabbits, tigers, all of the animals available, except for two. The wolf and Arctic wolf. There wasn't a corpse to be seen of them. That made me wonder. Am I going to meet the CCA's wolf now? I typed out. A swift laughter ran out around the area. Quite right, Derposaurus Rex. Although in this account you are... The voice was less of something I think would come out of a CCA member's mouth, but it still gave me the shivers. Never mind. Your username does not concern me or the CCA. The figure, a wolf, stepped out into my view, leaving blood-red footprints behind him. Okay, the Lonely Rabbit and the eyeless fox couldn't match up to this one. My jaw dropped and my eyes widened at the animal in front of me. The wolf was a silver with black swirls and regular deep blue eyes, but coming from its back was a sharp, large knife. Dried blood was all over his fur, and there was new, fresh blood glaring on top. I wanted to scream. Who knew Animal Jam could be such a horrific place? I am the stabbed wolf. I brought you here to my home to show you what we've done, what the process is. You see all these animals lying here? He moved his tail in a pointing motion. I gulped. Yes, I typed. These are all the animals we killed for the phantoms. Remember this one? He pointed to a rotting fox body. It was the fox I had been killed by, the eyeless fox. I get it. The eyeless fox lures them in. The Lonely Rabbit takes what it wants, and you keep them here in your home, I hissed. You're all sick, all three of you. 3? The stabbed wolf asked. Oh no, I am not the last of the clan of the cursed animals, he said, a sick grin stretching his muzzle out. I growled. So why me? Why am I so important? The stabbed wolf sighed. Such nagging. Fine, I'll tell. He took a breath. Out of all the people we've taken animals from and killed, only you have returned to Animal Jam. Only you have the courage to help us in our war, he said. I won't join you. I said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I'm not joining you. All I wanted was a normal time on this site, but you've ruined it with your constant visits. I typed. Then it seemed you are a cursed animal as well, the stabbed wolf said smugly. I roared, No! And with that, my animal lunged at the crazy wolf and clawed at him. The stabbed wolf roared and loudly shook my animal off. Then he began to grow in size, and he wrapped his tail around the knife protruding from his back, pulling it out and holding it at me, ignoring the eruption of new blood flowing from his back and splattering to the ground. You are still not ready. We will keep at you until you are. His voice deepened as he grew in size of an real-life horse, his eyes narrowing and his lips were drawn black in a full snarl. I watched as the intense battle between my animal and the stabbed wolf went on before my eyes. Silently willed for my animal to live, but I lost hope as the battle drew on and she was beginning to lose life force. Finally, after a long and fierce battle, my animal fell to the ground, covered in cuts that were bleeding. She struggled to breathe as the stabbed wolf crept up to her, his rage radiating off his body in a purple mist that swayed like tentacles. You fought well, my poor animal, I whispered to the screen. You are improving, you know. Maybe you will be ready soon, he said to my dying animal. I still have questions for you. No more will be revealed to you now. He won't allow it, the stabbed wolf said. Who, the eyeless fox? He's your leader, right? The stabbed wolf threw his head back in uproarious laughter. The eyeless fox? Our leader? No, he was only the beginning, my dear. You have worse yet to come, but for now you will sleep in my home. They will enjoy the new company, he hissed, talking about the rotting corpses all around. He brought up his tail, the knife aimed downwards at my animal's neck, as he plunged it downward with such a force that when it sliced through my animal's cooling flesh, I heard a sickening crack as the neck bones shattered and the knife went right through. My animal's head fell still, her eyes glazed over, and the stabbed wolf wrenched the knife from her and stuck it back in his back, and the constant bleeding slowed. Then he turned to the screen. He turned to me. Unless you join us, we will keep on ruining your Animal Jam life again and again, body after body, until you finally break. How many innocent lives will die because of your stupidity? He hissed up at me. For my sake and Jamar's, I won't help you start a war, I shouted at the screen in anger. Then your accounts will continue to die over and over. Don't think about quitting Animal Jam for good. You've been learning forever. You cannot escape us, he replied. Then he once again took his knife in his tail, then threw it right at me through the screen. I yelped as my screen suddenly cracked and the computer went dead. I whimpered. This was far worse than I thought. These animals had a living consciousness inside this game, and if they could do damage in the real world, who knows what they could do. I gulped and prayed it for all to be over soon.
Again, my friend. The last one wasn't too much for you, then. Good. Well then, no time to lose. Here's this story. 5 months later, I was still avoiding Animal Jam. I had ignored the stabbed wolf, and I hadn't come back. Nowadays, I only laughed at him, thinking he was wrong about me. I was not brave. I was not fierce. I was a coward. But the stabbed wolf had left me scarred. No one in my life seemed to know me anymore. My parents, my friends, everyone. They thought I was losing it. Every day I would wake up and stay in my room, far away from any screen, whether it was a TV, computer, iTouch, DS, anything. I never went near it. I didn't know anything. They could jump from device to device, for all I knew. My room was dark. I never opened the windows. I never turned on the lights. It was like I couldn't live in the light anymore. The walls were cluttered with scribbled drawings of each of the CCA I had met, the eyeless fox, the lonely rabbit, the stabbed wolf. Before and after pictures. Before, when they seemed like normal kind of jammers, and after, when they had their hideous transformations to battle mode or something like that. What a cruel world I lived in. But one night, I found out that safe wasn't a word that didn't exist anymore. My parents were on the computers. I snuck off to my room to go to bed. 11 p.m. Read the log. I turned off my light and hopped into my bed, pulling the black and white cover over me. Tonight seemed darker than before, and all I could see was my radio clock's green numbers. It didn't take long for me to fall asleep, but I didn't stay completely asleep, no. I soon began to have a dream. I was sitting down, and darkness surrounded me. Then I began to see white bars appear all around me like a cage. But these were not bars. These were animal bones. I shouted in surprise and backed up until I hit the other side of the cage. This wasn't right. I knew something was terribly wrong. This isn't fair. You can't invade my dreams, psychopaths,
I shouted into the darkness. Leave me alone! I'm not going back to Animal Jam. But we've left you alone for 5 whole months. Surely you have recovered. A voice rang out through the void. Only then you've not done your homework, sicko. I've almost gone nuts with the last one of you. Go away, I hissed angrily. But I'm not even here yet. Honestly, I don't like you. You've got the others of the CCA begging you to join, but I think we could manage without you, the voice groaned. Well then tell the others that. Is it that hard to stop stalking someone? I asked. What, you think they listen to me? I may be higher up in the ranks, but the order to keep you are from the very top. I can't do anything. He sighed. Well, I suppose I'll introduce myself now. The voice stepped out of the shadows it was hiding in and revealed itself to me. My jaw dropped. This was a dragon? Dragons aren't even in Animal Jam. On top of that, there was no skin or anything on him. He was nothing but bone. I am the bone dragon, he greeted me with. I took a closer look at his body and noticed something odd. Wait, if you're a dragon, how come you look like your body's the Arctic wolf? I asked. His head fell like I hit a nerve. Yes, I was an Arctic wolf before the Phantoms recruited me. I always wore a dragon-type outfit and used the bone dragon design rather than the regular design. But when I joined with the Phantoms, they turned me into a dragon. How awesome is that? The Phantoms aren't as bad as you think, you know, the bone dragon said. Yeah, because having the creepy cursed animal stalk an innocent girl living in the real world doesn't make them bad, I deadpanned. How are you even here? This is a dream for crying out loud. I mean, I saw what the stupid stad wolf did to my computer, but really? I asked, skeptical. Oh, please. The Phantoms attack by putting animals to sleep. And you think walking inside dreams is impossible for us, he shot back. Man, this one had an attitude. So are you gonna lecture me about joining you too? It's not gonna work. I'm not as much as scared of you anymore. I know you won't kill me, I hissed. Maybe not you, the bone dragon mumbled. We can kill anyone close to you in your life just as easily, he threatened. I jumped at him, but hit the bone bars, growling in rage. You wouldn't dare, I thundered angrily. Try us, the bone dragon said, his eyes darting to my arms. Mind you, your flesh looks rather tasty. What? I asked, completely taken aback. What? It's what I do. I get to eat the flesh of the dead animals who live with the stabbed wolf. Since I have no flesh, I guess it's to drive or something. He started to pace around my cage. You are just plain crazy. Why, thank you, he beamed at me. I raised an eyebrow, but never mind that. All I was sent to do is make you realize that even off of Animal Jam, you're not allowed to slip away from us. He could square out slowly, saliva dripping from his mouth. Gross, I mumbled. There's no need for you right now, so I can eat your flesh now, he exclaimed happily, and my bone cage crumbled. He looked at me funny. Great. I have to fight you? I looked down at myself and I found I was my Arctic wolf I once had. I grinned. If I'm the one in control this time, maybe this once I can win. But boy, I was wrong. He took me down pretty quickly, and he didn't even give me a chance to speak. He let out a thundering roar, and he began to rip me apart and eat me. And then I woke up screaming. I looked at my radio clock, 1 a.m., and then a thought crossed my mind. Come to Animal Jam. Almost like I was in a trance, I got out of bed and went down the hallway. Everyone in my house was asleep, so the computer was open. I turned it on and typed in an account name I'd never heard of before. Dark Jamal. I entered the password and hit play. What? You're mad at me for leaving you with the cliffhanger from the last one? Sorry, but that was where this story started. I had to stop. But now you're here again. No need to hold a grudge. Here we go. So, I had logged on to AJ through the account named Dark Jamal. It took a long time for it to actually log in, and when I got in, I wasn't anywhere I've seen. I was placed in a dry, desert-looking area with skulls of dead tigers littered everywhere. There was no animal either. It looked like this was for my eyes only. I sighed. Let me guess. CCA's tiger. I talked to the screen. I knew they could hear me. Well, I was right, because the tiger stepped into the area. And wow, the tiger was a sight. Half of the tiger's face was gone, yet the eye was still in place, and it rested loosely in a bone cradle. I honestly had enough of bones that day. Hello, the tiger said with a small smile. There was a sly and sneaky attitude to this one, I could already tell. I sat back in my seat. Yeah, you must be here to lecture me about— Wait a minute. I paused, replaying the sound of the tiger's voice in my head, and my eyes bulged. That wasn't right. Could it be true? Wait, you're a girl? I shouted, shocked. What, is there a problem? She snapped at me angrily. I shrugged. Not really. I just assumed that only males were dumb enough to be like this. The tiger unsheathed her claws. I'm not dumb. I came here because of my face, she hissed. So, half a face. The half-faced tiger? I guessed her name. She sat down. Correct. Now, I think I'll begin. Then she began to pace. Oh, please, I'm not scared of you. I know what your motives are. You won't kill me. I challenged her, crossing my arms. Motives? Oh, honey, you have no idea what motives are except for that fool's, the eyeless fox, she growled. She shouldn't have told you the backstory, but he didn't know you'd come back. You spread the word to your closest friends, and now we could be exposed. But it doesn't matter now, does it? I suppose I could tell you our motives now. She sighed, sitting down and flicking her tail. Well, I'll start off with the lonely rabbit and why it joined us. It was a new jammer for a long time. It liked the default look, but the other jammers of Jamaa thought it creepy and avoided it at all costs. All it wanted was a friend, someone to play with, but no one talked to it, no one even acknowledged it. The kind of treatment would drive anyone into madness. We found it huddled in the very corner of Jamaa, crying out for a friend, for someone. We became its friends, and we gave it new friends, the half-tiger explained. I only listened, not saying a word. This was about the most entertaining thing I had done in a while, and it felt great to finally have some more answers, some more information about the CCA. The stabbed wolf, he became the monster he is because of me. I was his friend before we both got into all this. Then I disappeared, and he had the crazy notion that I was taken by one of the jammers. So he took a sword, a regular jammer's item, and used his rage and hurt to turn it into a real weapon. And once he killed one, it was just too fun for him to stop. The phantoms heard of his actions, and they recruited him. We were back together as friends, but he was addicted to killing, and he kept his corpses with him, always, she said softly. You feel guilty. You're guilty for bringing him into this. The first of the CCA to feel emotion. Real, selfless emotion. The bone dragon? He's not very explainable. The poor little Arctic wolf who always dressed as a dragon of bone, laughed at constantly by his fellow animals. He was an outcast in a fool's perfect paradise. The phantoms gave him everything he wanted. Then he grew tired of his bony self, and he wanted to have flesh again. And by eating other animals' flesh, he thinks he will grow back. Mad, that one is. He may be qualified for the CCA, but he doesn't have a brain. Literally, she mumbled. And what about you? I pressed. She sighed sadly. I was attacked by a creature born of the phantoms. They stopped their abomination, but not before it ripped half of my face off. The phantoms didn't want anyone seeing what they would do, so they offered me a spot in the CCA. I knew I was a freak now, and I would never belong with the other animals again, so I went with them. She finally finished her stories. I see. And what was the point of that whole story? That's not going to make me join, I mumbled. No. That was to show you that you have no emotions left. A human like you would have felt bad or sorry for these poor animals, what led them astray from the tyranny of the alphas. They only ended up this way because of the raw emotions they felt, the half-tiger growled. I realized that she was right. I hadn't felt even one bit of sorrow or anything. Evil or not, these animals needed some sympathy. Yet, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't supply them with any. You are progressing in your transformation very well, honey. And you think you're being clever, that you're fighting back, stopping our plans? You've got another thing coming, she spat at me. Tell me this, half-faced tiger, I spoke suddenly. If the members of the CCA aren't supposed to have emotions, then aren't you breaking the rules? I asked very seriously. Boy, if your leader found out, I bet it'd be terrible for you. Ha! Blackmailing the CCA. Her eyes seemed to spark with rage as she pounced, and wham! Her half-ripped-off face was right in the screen, so close that I could see the veins that once connected the eyeball to the inside of the skull. I shuddered as she spoke. You don't even know him yet. You can't tell him if you never met him, she said slyly. Face the facts, honey. Your lack of emotions and craziness that's continuously growing will make you join us. In the end, your worst enemy is you in this. I narrowed my eyes. So, what are you gonna do? The signature ending? Killing my animal? Oh wait, there is no animal, I fake gasped. What are you gonna do now? Just walk away? I teased. She also narrowed her eyes. I'm not much of a killer as the others. Mind you, I do kill. I don't like killing animals important to us. Every time we kill one of your animals, you always seem to hate us more. I told my leader that. He lets me not summon an animal to you. It's not like we need one here to talk to you. The barriers are coming down, and no one will be safe after they do, she said. Barriers? What barriers? I asked, suddenly intrigued. No more information for you, honey. More than enough has been shared this night, she told me. And what you said about walking away, that sounds like a better option this time. And I could only stare at the screen as I saw her do exactly that. She walked away. My friend, none of this truly frightens you off? Reminds you of someone. But now's not the time for talk. You're here for the next part of the story. This one is about an animal who calls himself the skinned seal. 2 weeks after my event with Dr. Ma and the half-faced tiger, I had been thinking about them, like them. If I was to stay out of their grasp, I had to figure out their path and stop it before I lost my mind. This truly was a battle to me. A war the world did not knew of yet, only being fought by dangerous pixelated animals and a 13-year-old girl. There were times of doubt, I won't deny it. What could I do against them? I've still been tasting their power. They changed me. I'm an abomination. I'm no longer human, and once another came to try and get me, I'm going to rip into them and ask them why they've mutated me so. But they've been hiding safely inside a computer screen, somewhere I could not get back at them. It was all up to me to keep them away. I didn't even bother staying away from every screen in my house anymore. I knew they could talk to me directly through my head now. I had come with the conclusion of hopelessness. I couldn't defeat them. They were out of my reach before I had even met the eyeless fox. I couldn't keep them away either, much less take them down. The odds were impossible to be on my side. I fell on the computer chair, groaning with my face in my hands. There was one possibility. I could let them talk to me, relying on my willpower to say no every time. The only problem is I didn't know how many of the CCA there were. I only met 5 of them already, but the half-faced tiger said I had met the leader. And if the leader was the biggest and baddest, I hoped with all my might that I'd never have to meet him. The computer next to me began to beep with an alarming sound. I groaned. Really? Of all the times in the world, it had to be now, with no one home. What? I snapped angrily at the screen, knowing they could hear me. I understand you won't leave me alone, but can you at least work on timing? Oh, come on, we just wanted to talk to you, without anyone hearing. Your parents never leave you alone anymore since you made them think you're insane. A voice came out of my computer. I glared. Who's responsible for that again? A pause from the computer. Alright, that was us. But you wouldn't be going insane if you had gone with us after the stab wolf asked. Look, you, I don't want this. I don't want war. I don't want to be one of you creeps. Why can't you just find some other idiot jammer that would be the friend of eyeless fox? Because you are the chosen one, it barked. Barked? Well then, no need for invisibility. I'd rather much like it if you were to show me who you are. I growled at the screen. Out flopped a seal, or should I say a sack of muscles and organs in the shape of a seal. This animal had no skin, no flesh at all. I snorted. Well, I see the bone dragon had one successful meal. The seal scoffed. Like hell. I've been around longer than him, or anyone you've met already. You're moving up the ranks of us. Soon you will find yourself in the presence of your substitute leader. Substitute! Oh man, this just gets more awesome, doesn't it? Your entire system is weaker than I thought. Come on then, tell me more about your CCA. I'll find the straw to break the camel's back. I egged him on. He glared at me, then took a breath and spoke. I'm the Skin Seal, Tier 6 of the CCA. He sent me to tell you what is going to happen if you don't come with me right now. I made a face. He did this, he did that. I'm not going to listen to some bastard who won't tell me who he is and use stupid pawns to talk to him. He's a tyrant who thinks he can control animals like slaves to do his own bidding. And if he thinks I'm going to run off with him into some apocalyptic future in a computer, he is tripping. The Skin Seal narrowed his eyes. You're more feisty. Naughty girl, that language of yours is rude. You should be ashamed of yourself. I laughed out loud. You should be ashamed of your own actions, you dunce. Imagine if you were real. The government would arrest you for stalking or harassing a teenage girl. He sighed. You've changed, Miss Holdout, but enough of your harsh words. I have business to discuss with you. He says that you must come with me now, or you'll trigger a chain reaction of events that will only bring you pain, loss, and loneliness. What would you rather have, You've seen our power, and we can do so much more. Come with us, the madness is waiting for you. I blinked, unamused. Don't become that ogre made of black blood. I am not that crazy yet. The purposely made sure to detach from anyone in this world of mine that might have been in any danger of trash bags. I have changed. Yes, I've cut off the essential emotions that make me appealing to most humans. And don't think I can't see what you've been doing. Care to explain why I have an Arctic wolf tail attached to me, and in the real world, no less? This time, it was his turn to laugh. Plan B, if you do not come with me the easy way. My wolf tail twitched. I don't think this is an improvement, but I can see what it's for. I have to hide even more now. You're confining me to such a small space that I can't hide from you anymore. Who said I ever could, you and your magic? He ignored me. Come with me now, little girl. Do not make me be mean. I hissed. Go die in a hole. I'm not going with you anywhere. The skin seal sighed, shaking his flabby sack of a head. I truly did not want to do this, but you found the straw that broke the camel's back. And with that, he started to ram himself continuously on the other side of my computer screen, his unprotected meat banging and squelching against the glass screen as it started to crack. Drops of fluid flew from him as I averted my eyes from the nasty scene. Hey, Misak, what do you think you're doing? I asked, hiding the nervousness I felt in the moment. Do you not remember what the half-faced tiger said? The barriers are falling, and they fall with me, he shouted, flinging himself at the grass barrier one more time. And then the screen just couldn't take any more. The screen completely shattered, and a powerful suction began pulling things into the screen like a portal. I yelped and gripped my chair tightly, feeling the air whipping past my face and disappearing into the screen. The screen faded to a black, and 6 pairs of glowing eyes watched my struggle. I knew who they all were. The eyeless fox, the lonely rabbit, the stabbed wolf, bone dragon, the half-faced tiger, and the skin seal. They all started to chant something that I couldn't hear over the howling of the wind. I couldn't hold on any longer. I squeezed my eyes shut and let go of the chair. In an instant, I felt myself being pulled into their world as I was shrunk and sucked in. I opened my eyes to nothing but darkness, the tiny speck of light from the broken screen fading quickly. I was falling. All around me, the eyes haunted my very existence, and I could hear their chanting. Barriers have fallen. The barriers have fallen. The barriers have fallen. And you have fallen with it. I felt a sharp pain in my body. As my skin began to bubble and move, I screeched in agony as my arms became furry legs and paws. My body morphed into an animal. My face turned into a snout. My ears became pointed, and claws sprouted painfully from the nubs of my fingers, or should I say toes. They had turned me into a full Arctic wolf, I realized as I continued falling weakly into nothing. It was hard to breathe. I brought in air in huge, wheezing breaths. The eyes suddenly faded, and I barely held my eyes open as I saw the ground I was falling towards at a rapid rate. Serapia Forest? As the land became closer and closer to me, I braced myself for a sickening impact. The last thing I remembered was the loud slamming sound, the awful pain, and the echoing words of the CCA, and everything went black. My eyes opened to a pitch-black scene. Boy, wasn't that new! Sighing, I got up into a standing position, my wolf paws standing on something I couldn't see. As far as I could tell, the area was most likely dream space instead of reality. Last time I checked, Jamal had no pitch-dark areas. Hello, my dear, a raspy voice came echoing. Oh, right. You have all caused me enough issues. You and that bird-dragon-looking shadow thing. Seriously? Who the hell was that? You guys didn't say anything about no dragon. Bird dragon? Nowhere in Jamal could exist such a thing, I asked curiously. I rolled around, side to side, looking everywhere but not seeing anything or anyone. Suddenly, the blackness began to color, and I was puzzled. The volcano area in one of the adventures? What could you possibly have in mind for me here? Nothing special, just a little understanding for you, the voice said again, and finally showed a form. I stared blankly. Based on everything I had seen in the past, no matter how sick these idiots could look, it would affect me in the slightest anymore. The animal was a cheetah, burnt gray to be exact. His eyes looked dried out and shriveled, and at a closer look, I noticed his skin was flaking about everywhere. I watched some bits float to the volcano floor, and I made a face. What? Did your past friends push you into the lava, or did they set you on fire with one of the torches? I asked snappishly. The cheetah glared at me.
What happened to that nice personality you had? Boy, you're such a jerk in person compared to your YouTube channel, he hissed.
Alright then, charred cheetah, what is your deal with me? Your petty attempts are getting rather annoying, and to be honest, I don't think you guys know what you're doing. All you've done is made me hate you. If you'd bribed me when I was still happy, maybe made it seem better than my life outside in the real world, then perhaps you'd not be going through this. But tough luck for you, because what you got instead was my stubborn side. And trust me, I'm not easy at all to persuade in this state. He stared at me.
Perhaps that would have been a better idea, but dwelling on the past isn't how I get results.
He grinned sickly, the lava behind him rising up from the pit below, and stayed at his command like a snake ready to strike its prey. I barely even changed my expression. You think burning me to near death's gonna make me join you? Look, smart one, you guys pulled me into the game, where I fell from who knows high, broke my leg, and apparently scraped all the flesh and muscle away from the top of my head. Then that bird dragon thing decides to rip my ear off and almost fracture my skull. So I think my pain tolerance is pretty high that I managed to handle all of that. The charred cheetah scoffed.
Well, I'm not very sure that you'll be hot about this idea.
He manipulated the lava into a dripping hand and grabbed my body, the searing molten rock burning my fur and my skin right down to the bone. Laughing sickly, he enjoyed watching flaming bits of fur and flesh fall to the floor or burn completely in the lava, his own crisp flesh and fur peeling off of him and falling to the floor.
Enough!
I shouted fiercely, and suddenly my skin turned pitch black. My front paws stretched into shadowy wings, my body becoming leaner, and my tail becoming shadow feathers. I could feel my muzzle shifting into the shape of a beak, and my neck grew longer.
What? Impossible!
The charred cheetah shouted nervously, taking a step back. This has gone on for long enough. I am so tired of your stupid CCA and your stupid backstories, even if you didn't give me one. I am done with this, I screeched, disturbing the lava. My wings stretched outwards, and the lava splashed to the floor. The charred cheetah yelped, jumping back from my new form.
You shouldn't be able to do that. You couldn't possibly handle both at the same time. I don't understand.
I flew upright to his face angrily. Didn't you say I was different? Special in some way that you freaks need me? Spill it! I'm tired of your secrets. I demand answers. Now! I roared, showing my white shadow-like teeth as I opened my beak. Or I'll crush your skull and watch the brain bits pull out of your ears and laugh as blood drips from your mouth. Which will it be? He gulped.
All right, fine, Miss Bossy. Can't believe that you're stupid that you need me to explain this. Look at you now. You're the exact same thing you saw in the cave. But that was all in your head because you hold this power with you. That's why you can be it as well as see it. You have a double personality.
I narrowed my glowing white eyes at him. Okay, then answer me this, puny one. Who exactly am I carrying around? Who is this other personality that I have in my head? The charred cheetah laughed a raspy laugh.
You'll never get that information from me. You can kill me, but you'll never find out. I could care less. If I disobey the leader, he'll have me brutally murdered anyways.
My white eyes turned to a glowing blood red. Oh, I'll take you up on that. This will be a little message to your leader that I mean business now. And with that, I bit down on his head as forcefully as I could, hearing the cracking of his skull shattering, the squishing noises of his soft, stupid brain. Soon, his distorted, dead face fell to the floor from my jaws, blood leaking from his mouth, and brain bits coming out of his ears. Just like I promised, I growled, my body fading back to its original Arctic wolf form. Go tell your leader that I'm done playing games. I'm going to come after him and everyone else, and I will kill every CCA member alive. And as I finished watching his dead body bleed out, I forcefully pushed him off the edge into the lava. And a friend did push you into the lava, idiot. The volcano setting began to fade, and I soon was in a pitch-black area again. Feeling confident, I decided to recruit the animals that saved me while I cried in that cave. Okami, Nora, and Hun. They would be the first of my crew. And as I woke up from the dream, I came up with the name for my organization. Mira's Final Warriors. It's been a while, hasn't it? Sorry about that. I do get busy. With what, you may ask? I'm sorry, I can't answer that just yet. Be patient. Some time passed between the murder of the charred cheetah. I taught Mira's final warriors everything I had observed and experienced with the CCA. They had so many questions, but they were strong. They learned, in time. We began to pose as regular jammers and invaded the adventures. Being inside the game allowed me to do certain things to the code of the world. We picked unsuspecting players to allow into our little glitch world. Our base wasn't supposed to exist, after all. However, to make sure they didn't talk about us, we put a block on their account, making it impossible to chat about us. The CCA couldn't know what we were planning. Myra's final warriors grew. Okami, Nora, and Hun became my leading officers. They each commanded a fourth of the organization, one's leadership belonging to myself. But after all of that, there was still one thing I never fully understood. The charred cheetah never allowed me the knowledge of who I was carrying around with me, the shadowy bird-like creature I had transformed into that day. It scared me sometimes. But today, there was something I had to do. "Hey, there you are, ma'am," Okami's voice called, snapping me out of my thoughts. "Officer Okami," I greeted respectfully, "I have something to ask of you. I need you to round up your section, whoever's players are offline. We're going on a little trip. It's time you saw one of them." Okami's eyes widened. "They've summoned you again?" I began to pad off, ready to assemble my section. They know something's up, but I don't think they know of us yet, which is why we have the element of surprise. We may be able to kill another. So Okami's section and mine walked to where I guided them, the cold Mount Shivir. I stopped right in front of the small, frozen lake and turned to the gathered members. "You may remember the rumors about this lake, that it would break and give you rare items. You may have learned that the lake would never actually break. Well, today is different. I want you all to join me standing on this small piece of ice," I said, patting onto it and sitting patiently. One by one, the members cautiously stepped onto the ice with me. Okami sat next to me. "You're going to fail, you know," my unknown passenger sneered in my head. I ignored it, and soon the ice began to crack on its own. The animals around me began to murmur, wondering if this was a good idea. And, without warning, the ice shattered. We began to fall down, down. It seemed like it would never stop. "You know what to do, passenger," I said aloud. My body morphed into its other form and grew very large. I caught my fellow warriors and Okami on my back and ordered my clawed feet, gently floating down to the bottom. I released them and morphed back. "You seem to be getting better at controlling this other consciousness, ma'am," Okami noted. I flashed a smile at my officer. "Damn right I am." "You're not controlling me. We simply have a mutual relationship. I have no other choice but to help you. If you get yourself foolishly killed, I am killed with you," it said, tone annoyed. There was a sudden loud splashing noise, which rang out in the dark, cold space we had landed in. Silence settled in with my warriors. "Well, well, well, what do we have here? A warrior team. Aren't the game's adventures enough?" A voice rang out through the space. "You and your kind need to be stopped. The adventures are for fighting phantoms, not you. Show yourself, vile creature, so I can do to you what I did to the charred cheetah," I hissed angrily, my fur bristling, becoming shadowy at the tips. Don't lie to yourself. If you could kill me so easily, you wouldn't have taken your cute little role-players group with you." Sloshing through the waters of the cave, a rhino appeared. His eyes were bloodshot red, his skin soggy and wrinkly. Water stuck to him. "Allow me to properly introduce myself. I'm the drowned rhino." My fellow warriors cringed with horror. Water flooded from his mouth as he spoke. "Drowned indeed," I said stiffly to him, then turning to my group. "I want you all to watch. Do not interfere. Okami, you too." The drowned rhino laughed, bloody water spewing from his mouth. "What, are you planning to kill me? You haven't even let me talk to you yet. Our leader is furious for what you've done to the charred cheetah. He almost ordered us to kill you, no mind the need for you. You should feel lucky that he changed his mind. Your leader is nothing but a coward. If he needs me so much, then why doesn't he come to get me himself, huh?" I snarled. The drowned rhino sighed. "I have no choice, do I? If it's a fight you want, that's what you'll receive." I howled a war cry and instantly morphed into my bird dragon form. The drowned rhino rolled his bloodshot eyes at me and aimed his horns. I dived for him, and he dodged. I calculated his landing point and swung my long feathered tail at him. I knocked him clean against the cave wall, and he fell to the floor. The cave walls were jagged and sharp, and I could tell by the blood smears that he had been cut several times. He struggled to stand. I most likely broke some of his bones as well. His soggy skin was sliced and hanging off like bread slices, blood flowing from them.
A shard of sharp rock had impaled itself into the right side of his head, forcing him to keep an eye shut. "You brat," he huffed. "I never liked you, but he does, which is why I can't kill you." "I'm going to kill you, right here, right now," I said, and lunged at him once more. I forgot that these little jerks had magic on their side because he gave me a smirk, and suddenly I was knocked back by a very large wave of cold water. "You're too strong for me, but my superiors are stronger," he forced out. "Time for you to leave my home." The drowned rhino summoned a giant wave, and we were all swept away. The water pushed us upwards before we finally found ourselves back on Mount Shavir. We had come out of the seal cave that was always blocked off. I morphed back into my Arctic wolf body and began to help my fellow warriors back on their feet. "Now you know what we're up against. I hope you've learned much from this. You may not be able to escape another encounter with your lives," I said to them. "Okami will take you back to the camp. I have some unfinished work to do." I watched them leave, waiting for them to be out of range. I took a deep breath and focused. My eyes glowed black, and my passenger's body manifested in front of me. "There isn't many left of them for you to meet, you know. They know this too. They're planning something. They're going to do something big, something terrible. Don't let your guard down," my passenger said, his eyes switching from white to red and back. "You know more than you let on. I will find out soon enough. We may work together fine, but secrets will harm our teamwork. You need to get over the secrets," I said to it. "You're not ready yet. When the time comes, the secrets will come to you," the passenger said, and the manifestation disappeared. I sighed. Just another day in the war.